Hi, this is Aditya from LightHaven, and recently within the Filipino martial arts community there's been a lot of discussion about whether double sticks help you in fighting or not. Now I don't think I can categorically give you an answer, but I can tell you about why I like to train and teach double stick. Now I have very often on this channel spoken about some common patterns that you find when you're using double sticks in a lot of the Filipino martial arts. So you have basic following motions where one attack is following the other attack. You have crossing motions where the weapons are crossing each other in this scissoring motion. You have these Sinavali or weaving patterns. You have times when you're attacking with both weapons at the same time. You have times when the weapons are moving in this circular fashion. These are the 5 most common, in my opinion at least, patterns that you see across double weapons. Now, when I'm working with double stick, because these are the longest extensions of my body, it requires a lot of coordination. And so when I'm learning these patterns of movement, if I can get them down when I'm doing double stick and I can get them down fluidly when I'm doing double stick, it's going to make life much easier for me to get them down when I'm doing any other weapon pattern. So let's say following patterns, angle 2, angle 1. If he's just giving me an angle 1 and we're just playing this really simple drill, it's just a drill to teach us timing and angle 1 and timing of parrying. From here I can go angle 2 and angle 1. So I'm going cut and parry, and from here either I can come back with a thrust, I can look to disarm, I can look for a cut. There are so many options that I have, but it came from that following pattern, right? I went angle 2 and I parried with that angle 1. Now let's look at a crossing pattern. We already did it with this parry and cut, or the jam and cut, or he's giving me a low thrust. Again I'm parrying and cutting, and then I can look to work from there. Sinavali pattern, it's a really popular pattern in double stick. When I am working with weapons, what I don't want to do oftentimes is if I make contact, I don't want to just let this be for Zarir to now come and do whatever else he wants to do. I want to either, if it's coming towards me, track it the entire way and keep it away from me, maybe switch my grip, maybe work into something else. If Zarir pulls it back to his chest, I don't want to necessarily follow it just with the hand. If he pulls it back, I want to follow with my entire body so I can trap that elbow. But the idea is I never just want to let that hand go. Once I have made some sort of connection with it, I always want to keep that connection so that he just doesn't have free range of his knife, right? The Sinavali allows me to do that. He's giving me an angle 1, I'm able to parry, bring that second knife, the second hand in, or the knife hand in here to, again, if he goes low, I can track and then I can switch, or I can bring that cut in there, and then the third count of the Sinavali can become trapping of the hand. So with the double stick it would be 1, 2, 3. With the knife I went 1, again 2, 3. Or I can go on the inside as well. If it was double stick, I go 1, 2, 3. With the knife, I go 1, 2, 3. Right? So those patterns are allowing me to again make the most amount of use of my weapon and my live hand. It's going to be similar for when you're attacking simultaneously. It's going to be similar for circular attacks. He's giving me an angle 1. I parry in that circle and I cut. So I went 1, 2. You're going to find the same patterns again and again and again and again. If you do this with double stick, in my opinion, it helps me to express it in any other weapon combination. So the first thing is that it just helps me to learn these patterns. The second thing is that it also helps me to coordinate my weapon with my body so that I'm not cutting myself by mistake, I'm not hitting myself by mistake, because when I'm, especially with these extensions to my body, I need to not have things in the way of other things, but still work in tandem with each other. So when I am working with, let's say, something like a single knife, this hand of mine or that hand of Zarir is what we call the live hand, right? And it's used for all sorts of things. He's giving me an angle 1, I can parry, he can parry, I can jam, he can jam. If he's going low, I can jam down here, I can move it to the side, I can then go into these kind of clipping positions or controlling positions. It's not enough. If everything else fails, Zarir can just grab my hand, right? Or I can grab Zarir's hands, he's coming here, I'm coming, and I can now look for disarms or locks or whatever. The point is that this hand has a life of its own. So if I am now, while I'm fighting Zarir, if I'm thinking about, oh my god, this hand has to grab, this hand has to do these things, it's too late. This hand has to have a life of its own. And oftentimes, this hand has to have a life of its own, but in coordination and to supplement what my knife is doing. So for example, if he's giving me an angle 1, instead of us just sparring, now from here I can look to cut and parry at the same time. So can Zarir. And there are a bunch of drills and techniques that come from here. I can cut, and then enter from here, or I can do the exact opposite but with a jam. I can look to jam as I cut, and then now Zareen maybe doesn't want to get stabbed, so turn a bit please. He's jamming over here, but now this hand, because it has a life of its own, knows it has to grab. And as it grabs, now it can look to cut over here and then come back and disarm or do countless things, right? The point is that there's no time to necessarily think, and both hands have to learn the muscle memory, let's say for the lack of a better word, to work in unison with each other. Now, I'm not in any way claiming that this is the best way to train, this is the only way to train. In fact, I just did a video, I think it was last week on Patreon, about how we must constantly question our existing dynamics and existing methods of training, not in a way to necessarily find a better way, but in a way to see how it can best suit our context and our training needs. And so if I'm learning to fight, whatever that might mean for you, it might mean single stick, it might mean knife fighting, it might mean empty hands, whatever that might mean for you, you might get more bang for your buck just training. If you want to be a single stick fighter, you might get the most bang for your buck just training single stick. Same with knife, single knife. I'm not saying you have to train double stick to do anything. I like to train double stick because it allows me to understand a bunch of principles, it allows me to build coordination, it allows me to build versatility. And it's part of this art that I love practicing and I love teaching. It's not essential to do anything with double stick, but I do love to still find ways to express myself and express the art and explore myself through double stick. Thank you guys so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, if you learned from what you saw, please do like and share this video. Please do subscribe to the channel. If you have anything to add, any questions, leave that in the comments down below. All of these things really do help out the school and the channel a lot. A huge thank you to all of our patrons and all of our YouTube members. Thank you guys so much for your support. If you'd like to know more about either of the pages and all the exclusive content that we offer over there, check out the links in the description down below. Thank you Zarir for all of your assistance. Thank you guys for watching, and see you in the next video.